Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
From the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, and the schmoes know, this is DC Movie News, bringing you the most up-to-date discussion and commentary within the DC universe.
Wonder Twin powers activate!
Form of wolf.
Form of a tray of ice cubes.
Mine was so much better than yours.
Melting
What
ice
is
cubes.
going on?
Welcome, fans of the DC universe. I'm Adam Gertler.
I'm Roxy Striar.
We are so happy that you could join us here in this special late night edition. Thanks for being patient. I was a little occupied today. I had to eat lots of Blizzard ice cream, the Jurassic World Blizzard for FX.
I feel so bad for you.
That was work today. And Roxy was like, well, listen, we want at least two of us. And Loquasto is training to play the role of Booster Gold in Brazil.
True. It is true.
And if you haven't seen pictures of Loquasto in Brazil, do yourself a favor.
By the way, I just have to say this right now because it's going crazy.
At Jay Quasto on Twitter, right?
He is at Jay Quasto.
At Jay Quasto, look at that.
Look at you listening to him every week. The chat is going crazy right now because you guys are right. We have a new intro, which is amazing. Thank you, Jonathan.
What was different? I didn't.
It's really, well, you'll get to see it now when you go back and
is
you
it
watch
visual?
us. Visual.
Oh, so
Visual.
you see it. Speaking of visual, man, there's a lot of visuals going on from the set of the Suicide Squad, isn't there?
Amazing segue. That was really good. You've been working on that.
Yeah. Well, it's late night. I figure we should get to the biz. You know what I mean?
It's better than your Ice Cube impression.
No, you know what? Real fans of the Super Friends will appreciate my tray of ice cubes.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Jan and same opera.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So we're starting with, you want to talk about these photos? 'Cause
Yes,
I want to talk
okay.
about these photos.
So there are the most amazing pictures of Batman that we've seen from the DC cinematic universe have appeared this week, just out of the blue, like all Batman v Superman. We see no pictures except the little bits that Zack Snyder doled out to us.
Right.
Nothing else. Nothing from the set. Suicide Squad, it's like there are literally more people just watching it, taping this movie with their cameras than like watch this podcast each week. I feel like they're just selling tickets to Suicide Squad.
People have been making jokes that there's got to be literally zero security on this set because I don't understand.
Just look at that.
Yeah.
You guys look at it. That is, holy crap.
I know.
That is the gray and black suit from The Dark Knight Returns in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Okay, it really excites me because I love looking at these photos, but some people are pissed about these leaked photos. They don't want to know. They don't want to see. They don't want to know the car. They don't want to know what's happening. They're guessing all these storylines. What are you thinking about that? Are you on the pissed fence?
Listen, I mean, part of it, you can only be so mad before you accept the world in which you live. You know, it's different when Michael Bay is shooting the Transformers movie in the center of Chicago. All you see is a bunch of cars going around because all the Transformers stuff is going to be done in post. You know, David Ayer is using a lot of practical, old school, on location filmmaking in Canada. And, you know, this is revealing something. Now, we could talk about what this means for the film. Listen. I mean, did you really think the movie was going to come out in August of next year? We weren't going to hear about Batman being it, and that's really what's at stake here. And isn't that his presence? Isn't that going to bring more people to the film?
Absolutely, but we're talking about a movie that is over a year out still, and we've already seen this much. Think about all of the leaked things we're going to see in the next year. We're going to be able to piece together the entire freaking movie by that point.
Well, you know, I think part of it is really Warner Brothers, DC, maybe it's a lack of confidence, maybe it's their strategy, is they basically want that fan base, the geek society, us essentially, to be buzzing about this movie so that when it does arrive, people who are not comic book nerds and comic book movie nerds are going to go, oh, what's Suicide Squad? Oh, Batman's in it? Okay, Joker's in it? Okay, I'll go check it out.
Well, I think that actually answers one of the questions that we got this week on Twitter from @GregNathan said, why do you think WB is letting all these set photos / vids leak for Suicide Squad? BVS almost has none, which is what you're talking about right now. Batman v Superman, everybody that looks at that knows, you don't have to be a comic book nerd know who Batman or Superman
Yeah.
is. To know who Suicide Squad are, you obviously have to be a little nerdy or a big Arrow fan.
Yeah, now, as far as whether or not this is a big spoiler for the film, I would like to address that. And I think somebody actually sent a question alluding to this. And that is this really a flashback? Is this perhaps like how Joker got put away by bats? Because we've seen like the Will Smith where he looks like the pimp. I feel like that looks like flashback stuff. There seems like we're gonna maybe find out how each of these members of the squad ended up maybe in jail, and all this whole thing. Think about this for a second. This whole thing with Batman on the roof of the car, which looks freaking amazing.
The car does, or him on the roof?
Him on the roof of the car looks amazing. The Batmobile looks cool. The Joker's car is fine, but like him on the roof, and they got an actor on the roof, and it's the best looking Batman costume that's ever been on film.
I agree with
by
that.
far.
I agree.
What if it's actually about Harley Quinn? What if this whole flashback thing is really related to how Harley Quinn got in there? And yet, Joker's still going to be in prison. I'm still holding strong to that he's going to spend most of the movie rotting in a cell.
Well, that's why you think it's about the flashbacks.
That's right. And I think it's more about Harley's flashback because you can clearly see Harley in the car with the Joker. And maybe this is how she ends up in Blackgate prison or where they're going to be in Arkham or wherever it is.
So a couple of things. Number one, the questions you're talking about right now were asked by Geek Complex on Twitter. He said, do you think Batman Joker chase scene is from flashbacks?
Yeah.
Batman seems leaner in the set pics. I do think that you could be right that it could be Harley's story, especially because we got such a bomb kick butt actress to play her. We got to play around with her and we got to go through her whole story. She can't just be a side piece.
And again, she's a character that not everybody knows. As many people out there know Harley Quinn. It's not the Joker. It's not Batman. These characters.
That's true.
This is a movie that's got to appeal to a broader audience. If it's going to make $1 billion, it can't be just for the people that know it. We've got to learn who Harley is. We got to somehow do an origin of these characters in an interesting way. And this would be an interesting way to deal with, when we saw her getting slapped by the Joker last week, I think a lot of these scenes might be Harley's backstory.
I agree. We do have to get a little bit of her origin. But again, in a 2-hour and something long movie, how much can we dive into Harley when we have so much to go over and so many different characters?
Exactly my point. If you dive into her through an amazing Batman Joker car chase scene, then it's just like, it's a great action scene. And the bonus is like we're learning Harley. Look, this is my total blind speculation. I understand people being pissed, but look at that costume. Imagine that amazing freaking CGI cape that's going to be in there.
Right.
And the things that thing's going to be doing while it's on the car. Come on!
I'm pretty excited about it, too.
You have no right to be anything other than completely thrilled over these developments.
People in the chat are agreeing with you. Deuce Trey says, I think it's clearly a flashback. Quinn has none of the normal Harley Quinn makeup or clothes on. Right. So that's a really good point, too. I thought that the car looked sick. You seem to be underplaying the car.
The Lamborghini?
Yeah, I'm loving it.
The Lamborghini's cool. I don't know. It's funny. I mean, because on one hand, I'm like, it's kind of silly. It reminds me of like an action playset. You get like the Joker mobile and the Batmobile like going at each other. But like, that's fine. Hey.
I want to be in that car.
Joker's
with them
got a Lambo
in the back seat. How do I get to do that?
I don't know. I mean, it's a different kind of Joker than we're seeing in this film. I don't know. Heath Ledger was not driving a Lambo. Jack's Joker wasn't driving a Lambo. Cesar Romero, I don't know if Lambos, I don't even know if they got over here then. He might have been in a nice Corvette or something like that. But
it's a completely different Joker, though. So he would have a completely different car. It makes perfect sense.
He's got a grill. I don't know. I'm excited to see the film.
Yeah.
So moving on, still in the... sort of related to Suicide Squad. We had heard the potential of the character of Steve Trevor, possibly being the New 52 iteration, which was a little bit more of like an envoy and military guy involved with like Justice League and things like that. And we heard Scott Eastwood.
Yeah, at first, but then we reported that we didn't think him.
Right, then he was possibly doing something else.
Right.
And now a name has been attached to the Wonder Woman film to play her sort of love interest character of Steve Trevor, and that is Chris Pine.
Yes, and I will say I've been looking all over the blogs and social media, and people seem to be really excited about him. I like him a lot. I think he's what's that face? That's the agreeing
No, I'm
with
totally
Roxy.
agreeing with
Yeah,
you. It's like hard to hate on this one because it's like a minor character, and it's like, honestly, I think whatever people think about the Star Treks, like, he does a great Kirk. He kind of like is kills that role. And
I agree, and I think that it's interesting because, like you said, it's a minor role. And now I'm questioning how minor the role really is. It's got to be a major role, a semi-major role.
Could be a major role, but I mean, think about, like, you know, a lot of people are comparing it to, like, possibly like the Peggy Carter character or the Gwyneth Paltrow character. Like, it's definitely not like a main hero.
Right.
I mean, it's not like he's going to be dominating Wonder Woman, you know.
But if you remember going back to the rumors about Scott Eastwood and why he wasn't playing Steve Trevor, apparently this was from Jeff Snyder of The Wrap, and also he does Meet the Movie Press here for Popcorn Talk. He said that actually Scott Eastwood was offered the role of Steve Trevor, or he was offered to audition for something else, and he chose to audition for whatever else, and or something like that, or he was going to audition for one or not the other. I don't even remember the exact story, but he basically chose a different character, which is why I thought Steve Trevor would be more of a minor role. However, Steve Trevor is a very big role. If Chris Pine is going to play him, we're obviously going to have a lot of FaceTime.
I feel like the devil is somewhere in those details. I mean, they are very much the same type, Scott Eastwood and Chris Pine, but Chris Pine is very much a more accomplished actor at this point than Eastwood. So I feel like that's a case of somebody not knowing all the details right there.
Absolutely.
It just sounds like there's a lot going on behind. And look, this is not official yet, but this would be a great role. I think everybody agrees with that.
I'm really glad you just brought that up because sometimes people get upset if we say things that are rumors. It's pretty close to being true and we don't announce. So this is not official by any means, but it seems like they're pretty close to making a deal here.
Yeah, it seems viable, and it, you know, it would bring some good attention to the Wonder Woman's, you know, film. Like Gal Gadot has certainly never carried a film on her own before, and Chris Pine is like the second lead, and then like whoever the villain is. You know, the one interesting thing though is, you know, if the Wonder Woman film is the historical film, is Chris Pine going to be like in the past, or is he going to be in the current?
Right, and if he's in the past, that means that he won't be able to be in any of the other movies. How many movies is he going to sign on for?
Unless it's like really like Peggy Carter, which she's like, which I don't see that happening.
So people in the chat, by the way, are saying that he was asked to audition for Steve Trevor or get a supporting role in Suicide Squad guaranteed. So he could have auditioned for this. Instead, he was guaranteed another role.
Still,
that's the rumor, I guess.
I don't get that. Like, I don't believe that because it was like, what are you saying? Like, you can have this role or you can audition. Like, he can still audition if he gets that. Like, I just don't buy that. Like,
I don't think we'll ever really know, but it is interesting that there is all the behind-the-scenes stuff of Steve Trevor right now.
Sounds very bogus to me. Look, I'm just what a guy. What do I know?
You're calling BS.
I've been to an audition or two in my day. I'm just saying.
I love when you pull out the accents.
Listen.
It's a good look.
It just sounds kind of wacky to me. Okay, Chris Pine. Rah, 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 rah. Moving on. You know what? What is this about? Is DC about to change its movie schedule? I saw you threw that in the rundown, and I'm like, I didn't even catch that article.
It was a little confusing. It basically I think that it was the Rock interview, and he was saying that you definitely would see him before 2019, which made people think that originally that would mean that he would be in other movies, but now the way he's phrasing it makes it seem like they're going to actually move up that movie.
The Rock has intimated before that the production, he's like, the script is done. It's like his talking out of school is the most wacky of all people ever. Like, he's just always, you know, if Loquasto was here, he'd be saying like, look, this because he loves to swerve. He's the wrestling guy. He's a showman. Absolutely. No, that would be interesting if Suicide Squad, if Shazam gets here a little bit sooner.
This was his quote. No, I don't think that it's going to be that far away. I think it's going to be earlier than that. I don't think 2019. So I don't know if that he's just talking about his character or, you know, it's confusing with him. He does do a lot, as you said, and Loquasto says, swerve. So maybe he just wants to keep us on our toes. I would be shocked if they ended up moving that movie a year earlier, maybe a couple months, but still, I can't see it happening.
It's interesting. I wonder why, like, behind the scenes, like, The Rock would run his, you know, is it just to kind of create more hype? Like, you know, because that's a weird thing, like, it's a weird thing for a studio to under-promise and over-deliver, you know what I mean? And, like, that's what it kind of sounds like.
Right, and also it's strange for them to not mind that he's doing that if it's not true. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what he's implying.
I don't know exactly what The Rock is cooking on this one.
Ha 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 ha. But
No, there's no need to.
No, I thought it was actually pretty good.
Well, then you should have just moved on and accepted the offer.
Taking
now
form
you can
of...
build this form of.
No, I have nothing to form.
Nothing to form.
Form of.
Okay.
The little kitty cat. Meow.
Oh, form of obviously Bane Cat.
Form of Bane Cat. What was I thinking?
Duh. Form of scalding hot water to pour over Bane Cat.
Yeah, that was the move. I really blew that. That was a seamless opportunity for me to incorporate Bane Cat, and I just wasn't on my game there.
It was perhaps early for Bane Cat
Oh.
at that time. So is that really all that article kind of implied? It was just about the potential of Shazam moving forward?
Yes, and as in the chat, Let's Go, AJ just said he's being vague to create hype. That's all The Rock is doing. All right, so I'll go with that.
Sounds like that. Did we also want to mention there was something linked to Shazam? As long as we're talking about Shazam, wasn't there a question regarding the Shazam movie that I saw you had there?
Oh, I don't know. Let me look
about
around.
that actor to play Shazam.
Let me check
that
out.
you
Oh
point
yeah,
out?
this says. You're right. This is coming from @SeanRen DTTB. Says, what do you think of Alan Ritchson as Shazam? He called it a dream job. So. Alan, in case you guys don't know, number one, he's on that show right now on Fox, I Can Do That. And number two, he was on Blue Mountain State. Number three, he was Raphael in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he is like
Which I don't know what that means. Because can anybody tell me what does that mean? Like, aren't those all CGI characters in the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles films?
So I guess maybe.
So did he mocap? Is he like a martial artist? That's what I'm saying. Like, did he mocap a Ninja Turtle?
I don't know, but this guy has like one of the most ripped bodies I have ever seen.
He's a bit of a hunk.
He's completely ripped. He's a bit of a hunk, and I think he can pull off that childlike thing too. He's really goofy. As I've been watching him on this competition show. What happened on your phone? That you
I'm just looking. Okay,
face?
I'm scrolling at pictures of this guy. Check him out, Alan Ritchson. I don't really know his body of work, so I don't know how good an actor is. But of all the people that people have thrown out to say like, oh Shazam, he should be Shazam. This guy
looks like Shazam.
He looks like Shazam. Like, he got it in the eyes and the hairline, and he's young enough. And I mean, he looks like, yeah, like he's got some of these squinty, smiley pictures. I swear to God, if his hair was black, he would totally look like Shazam. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
I hope he can act.
I think he's pretty good.
And you know what? Like, this kind of like he's very hunky. He's very bulky, but he's not bulky like The Rock. And I think Black Adam and Shazam should be like slightly different body types a little bit.
I definitely think so.
He's a bit more lithe.
Like you said, it would depend on his chops, but I think that looks-wise, he can pull off also his attitude is kind of little kid-like. So I think it could be really interesting.
That's really the thing. That's the thing of Shazam. He's like, he's a kid in a big person's body. It's like Tom Hanks in his prime, big. That is Shazam.
Yeah, I know. And I people in the chat think that he is a good option, so I'm going to go with them.
Well, this is one character we've been talking about since we started this podcast. Was like, all right, Rock's Black Adam, who could possibly be Shazam? And it's like Daniel Cudmore kind of looks up, but this guy, man, he looks it.
Interesting. I didn't even realize this, and I used to watch the show. TR4200 says Alan Ritchson was Aquaman on Smallville.
Was he? He was Arthur Curry on Smallville?
Interesting. I didn't know that.
I remember those episodes. It don't even look like it because he had like longer hair.
I don't remember it.
Was he also in that spinoff that they did? Something Reef? Like they did an Aquaman spinoff pilot, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
These are all facts. The chat room will let us know.
Yeah, they are. They think he's a man-child and that he's a good comedic actor. And...
So you guys are supporting this.
Yeah.
How about the positivity on the DC movie news show,
Why are people Alan Rickman? Did one of us call him Rickman
Alan
instead?
Rickson?
It's Rickson.
Alan Rickman, perhaps even better choice.
Oh, maybe that's why they're saying.
Yeah, Alan Rickman could do it. Give him a little human growth hormone, get him in the gym, little CGI makeup.
Oh, interesting.
My name is Shazam. I am Shazam. I don't have an Alan Rickman prepared. I'm sorry.
It wasn't your best, but
Yeah. On the fly. Yeah. So people also want to talk about the fact that El Mayimbe on the Schmoes No Movie show last week, he sat in there and he dropped a little bean about Wonder Woman being old in her film.
Like ancient, really old, hundreds of years old.
I loved El Mayimbe, but we all assume that. I mean, because we've been talking about the fact that like her movies were going to be set in the 20s, so. and then that she was going to be the woman god. So it's not really surprising, but like, you know.
Yeah, but it was interesting that this was the big scoop that he dropped, because he made such a point of it. Hundreds of years. What does that mean? Yeah, I guess.
Well, that's cool. I mean, that just goes to show, like, also in flashbacks, you can show her through the ages, like fighting great, like, epic battles. I mean, there's a lot you can do. You're kind of creating a character that could potentially have sequels happening in any, like, decade or century. They could be freestanding. Like, it's actually a great, a great conceit for the Wonder Woman character.
They're setting themselves up so that they have a lot of different opportunities, which I think is great, because they can go many different ways with this. And like you said, I kind of feel like we already knew this, but it's nice to have it confirmed.
And I think a lot of these, it's also potential that the Wonder Woman films could flash back to and fro. Like, the main story could take place in the 20s, 40s, 50s, but then they could also sort of, pivot around a story that takes place in the present too. And then that Chris Pine is going to be introduced in Suicide Squad, and then maybe he does play a factor in Justice League, and and all these other things, and he'll appear in some other capacity.
And again, like we've talked about, a lot of this is going to be great for costumes, action figures, whatever it is, to have Wonder Woman through the years. That's going to be cool.
Well, I don't know if we have it or not, but there's even more Wonder Woman promotional art. I think all the costume stuff looks great.
Oh my God, you guys are home with the promotional art. Has been amazing. The fan art, has been amazing. The fan art has been incredible. The promotional art has been great too.
Everybody cannot wait to hear Gal Gadot utter a line. Like, it's just, that's the big shoe that's waiting to drop. It's like, everything looks good about this now. Now it's just like, can she bring it home?
Yeah, because nobody really knows Gal at all, so it will be interesting. I think she's going to knock it out of the park, and I know I've been back and forth sometimes, but I am a supporter of her. I think she looks fantastic. And you know what? Until she says something and somebody changes my mind, good. She's going to be great.
Yeah.
That's how I'm feeling.
Exactly. I mean, I think Gal Gadot skepticism is a little bit more justified than Jared Leto skepticism. I mean,
because Jared Leto has proven himself time and time again. I don't understand where that skepticism is coming from. He's the most incredible actor.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, people aren't sure about it. It's a wacky take on the Joker. It looks out there. People just don't know yet. But I know he's a great actor. I mean, look, I understand any skepticism. We haven't seen the movies yet, so it's fine. But Gal Gadot is the big question mark hanging over this franchise. She's supposed to be the big three. You got Henry Cavill, you got Ben Affleck, and then it's Diana. And
yeah, I know, but why don't we change that skepticism to optimism, and why don't we just become excited for something as opposed to knocking it before it even comes out?
You're excited, but it's like you're excited to have a baby, but you want to make sure it comes out with 10 fingers and 10 toes. It's a little bit of a nervous excitement, right? I mean, I'm saying Gal Gadot's about to give birth to potentially the most iconic superhero in the history of all superheroes. I'm a little bit nervous. I just want it to come out with her 10 fingers and 10 toes.
Do you want to know the disgusting things going on in the chat right now?
Listen, actually I do.
This is coming from the new Brad Ass TV. Wonder Woman, do you bleed? Yeah, a couple days a month.
Oh, now, listen, that is inappropriate. I'm glad that you said it, not me.
Yeah, that's why I run the chat.
That is because I would not have said that.
Speaking of which, guys, chat with us on YouTube. We go live. Popcorn Talk.
We're live now.
Yeah.
It's happening. It's happening now.
So by the time you're hearing this, it's too late. But
normally
for next
it happens at 3, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be gone the next couple of weeks. I'm actually going to the East Coast, and then I'm going to Spain for a week.
Ooh, what you doing? Training.
I'm training. To be touring around Spain. To be eating tapas and things.
Are you going to be the next Ra's al Ghul?
Yeah, exactly. Like Loquasto is training to become Booster Gold in Brazil. I'm going to Spain to become Ra's al Ghul.
And who am I going to be?
You're going to have to go somewhere, and, I think you're feeling Poison Ivy to me.
Ooh.
You said you almost had a heart attack before, didn't you?
I'm feeling way better. This is helping.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Roxy was experiencing
extreme chest pain.
We actually have a nurse in the room with us now just in case anything happens. But
that's true.
We think it's gas, not a heart attack. Could go either way, though, at this point.
I was trying to burp it out a little, but nothing's coming up. How sexy am I?
So there's a new documentary that's going to examine George Miller's aborted Justice League film. Now, a lot of you will remember in the early 2000s, around 2005 or so, this was supposed to happen.
I was still in the womb.
Yeah, exactly. You're still whom. The George Miller, who just directed the incredible Mad Max movie that's out there right now. So I could understand why there's a lot of interest in this. I guess much in the vein of John Schnepp's The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened. This is some which I still haven't seen. I'm dying to see that film.
Which film haven't you seen?
Death of Superman Lives, What Happened. But hopefully by Comic-Con. I heard he was bringing it to Comic-Con or something like that. He could buy it at Comic-Con.
I'm officially going. You're officially going. We have to do something there.
Great.
Yeah.
I officially got a room. I officially don't have any work to do yet, but I'm there.
Well, good.
I have
You'll
a room.
do work with me.
I have a thing, so I'm going. I'm reaching out to people. I reached out to Harloff. I'm reaching out to people. I'm excited about Comic-Con. I would like to camp out and try to get into that Hall H on Saturday.
All right, let's do it.
So we've talked about it. We need to work this out. I don't know
got a
how.
tent.
We're going to work together, get a little group. We can't really cut the line or nothing, but we should get a circle of people that can share. I don't know how it's going to work.
I agree.
We might have
George
to pay
Miller
somebody.
confuses me a little bit.
Why?
Just his career confuses me. Like everything that he's worked on, from Happy Feet to Mad Max, it's interesting, and so this will be interesting too.
So what do you think? Do you think it would have been a good film, or are you excited to see a documentary about another aborted film, or what do you think?
It all depends on how they do it. It's just hard to tell. I'll definitely watch the documentary. I enjoy a good documentary. It sometimes can be a little lagging on a topic like this, but hopefully they'll make it kick butt.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like from what was described about the film, I'm kind of glad it didn't happen. I'm kind of glad that we are where we are now. I really do like the overall look and feel of the DC Cinematic Universe, and I just feel like the cast was, I don't know, man, to just jump right, but who knows? It'll be interesting to check it out. Of course, I'm interested in seeing the documentary, but
the concept of a film about an aborted film is just, it's a little strange.
Well, but that being said,
they've done
the Schnepp one.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated to see what that Tim Burton, Nicolas Cage Superman would have been like, but that's a little bit different in that we had 4 Superman movies before up to that point, and we know Superman movies, so this is just like a little bit different because Justice League is actually about to happen for the first time ever,
right?
And do
you feel like that undermines it a little bit?
Not that it undermines it, but it's like I almost don't care as much. For some reason, I'm more excited about the films that are happening than going back and delving into something that could have been.
I think that makes perfect sense. I mean, what do you mean for some reason? For that exact reason that these are coming up, it's more exciting to think about the movies that are actually coming up.
I guess. Yeah.
It makes sense to me.
So I guess I'm kind of iffy about it, is my point. But I mean, look, if it comes across my desk, I'll see it.
Yeah. People have mixed feelings in the chat. 1991, Jay Smooth says, I don't like doc of films that could have been. I want that film, not a what could have been. Other people are, Spoonie Beauty says, documentary sounds pretty cool. So, we're all over the place.
Yeah, but again, about that Superman film, it's like, I'm kind of glad that didn't happen. And yet, I'm interested in seeing the film about it maybe happening. But
okay.
I don't know. Speaking about films and documentaries, another awesome segue here. A couple of, when we first started, I guess after one of our early episodes, we showed you like the early teaser for The Bat Kids Begins.
Yeah.
And now there's a full trailer out. And I almost didn't even watch this because it was like I'd seen it before. But now I did see it. It's incredible. We're going to watch it again. We're going to talk through it a little bit.
It's 2 minutes and 31 seconds.
2 minutes and 31 seconds.
And
go with us.
Get the tissue box right now.
Yeah, grab the tissue box. So here you go. The official trailer for Bat Kid Begins.
Just the music gives me the
He's always
chills.
liked all superheroes, but he always kind of comes back to Batman.
Which is why he's such a smart kid.
Natalie called screaming, crying, and said Miles has leukemia.
Did you see the poster for
One
this
of the
too?
doctors told us that with his disease,
I did
he just
not.
became a fighter.
So, what looks great about this documentary is that we all sort of know the basic story. Like, we know this kid did this event in San Francisco. Was it San Francisco or San Diego?
No, San Francisco.
So, San
The
Francisco.
real Batman was his exact wish.
But this really goes into the details of what happened. And you'll see as we get toward the end of the trailer, you're like, whoa. I had no idea that was going on.
Yeah, and just as a little bit of a tangent for a second, that's why Make-A-Wish is such a beautiful thing, what they do. That he was able to do this, and his family was able to do this. It's incredible.
Like,
full-size grown-up Batman so that he would have a buddy.
I know.
So he would have a full-size Batman and have a grown-up, and the kid was like, "Listen, we're gonna do this. This is my Make-A-Wish. I ain't no Robin.
Right.
I'm Bat-Kid."
Damn right he is. That's why when you get to see everybody's posters, it's like, save me, Bat-Kid.
You'll see when he's walking with the Batman. I don't know if we missed it or not, but like he's got the walk. Like the kid looks like Batman. He looks like little Batman.
Kid's an incredible actor. Like he studied the walk, the movement.
A young leukemia patient is being given a chance.
Here it is. There it is. He's got a little tough guy walk.
He does. He does.
He needs a car seat.
Oh my God. He needs the car seat part. It's incredible.
How to describe.
And look how many people came out.
Yeah, this is incredible.
Gotham City needs you.
So I'm looking at the date.
Cameo by. Look at these cameos. Now it's going to start to.
The story has gone
What?
viral with folks from all over the world cheering him on.
Every actor that ever played Batman was tweeting, Adam West on line 1. Okay, that's normal.
Adam West.
Way to go, Miles. Way to save Gotham.
Hello.
Freaking Obama.
Believe it or not, they're dancing for you.
Yeah, everybody.
They're dancing for you.
Just be a little absurd and live their little dreams for a little bit.
Hans Zimmer.
I know.
People were holding up signs saying, "Save us, Bat-Kid."
I wish I was there.
In helping him to live this dream, we were saving ourselves.
It gets me at this point. All right.
Okay.
So if you guys are just listening on audio, it's on June 26th. This doc comes out.
It comes
on June
out
26th, and Julia Roberts is producing a narrative version of the story. So.
Right, yeah. So there's actually going to be a non-documentary version potentially of the story.
Right.
I would imagine when it comes out, it'll probably be on video on demand at the same time, so you could probably watch it at home. I bet
It's in select theaters as of June 26th.
Okay,
So look and see. But
yeah, we'll watch that. We'll let you know. But yeah, just amazing, and it just goes to show like part of the reason I love these characters is they are our modern mythology. Like what is mythology if not like a guideline of like principles and a way to act and a moral code? I mean, call it what you want. You know, back in the day, they worshipped Apollo and Hercules and anyone else through the ages. Like the way these stories are timeless, these characters are iconic, and like that's amazing.
you guys look at home for sure, but I just have to show Adam the movie poster.
Oh, yeah.
It's really good. I don't know if you can see. It's really good.
Such good
Yeah,
stuff.
check out the poster. He's doing a little pose. That kid begins.
So that was good. So that was our sentimental block of the show. Now let's get to something a little bit more controversial. There's been rumors that
father like son,
like father like son, like wife like mother like son.
True.
Is Jaden Smith actually going to be in the DC universe as Static Shock?
Yeah. I have seen a little bit more negative comments than positive about this. That's putting it lightly.
As what is this? A picture from Afterbirth here?
Yeah, I don't have.
Excuse me, After Earth.
After
Sorry.
Earth.
Sorry.
Did you call it Afterbirth?
Accidentally. Yeah.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
I don't have as big of an issue as many people are seeming to have. I think that he is more talented than people are giving him credit for. And again, I'm trying to have a positive energy about all this.
Here's my thing about Jaden Smith. You
give
want
it
to
to
hear
me.
this?
I really do.
This is going to be a little controversial. I can't. All right. He to me. Mm-hmm. I can't believe I'm about to say this.
I'm nervous. Should I?
He's like an opposite of Mel Gibson, and here's why.
Wait.
Like I'm not. This is it. This is it. Okay, Mel Gibson is somebody who has a tremendous oeuvre of incredible work that I can no longer really appreciate because he opened his mouth so many times, and I couldn't ignore what an asshole the guy is. I can't, all right?
And he's the opposite of that?
Okay, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Getting there.
I'm
Bringing
with
it
you.
home. Jaden Smith is a guy that, like, I will never get to know how talented he might be because he opens his mouth. Now, does he say horrible, offensive things like Mel Gibson? No, but man, he says some stupid, whacked out stuff.
He's a kid.
Yeah, I know. He should be like most children. Speak when spoken to, and stay in the. He's too much freedom.
So here's the thing. I still think of him as the little Jaden Smith in Pursuit of Happiness, he was so adorable and so sweet, and I loved that. And honestly, so this is what somebody said in the chat. Takyo Z says, I'd be okay with Jaden Smith's Static Shock if it keeps him away from the movies.
Right, I keep him in a digital series, right? Like, because that's the rumor, right?
Right, I know you're making a joke, but that's kind of true. Like,
no, I don't think he's making a joke.
It's only a matter of time before he was going to be in one of these frickin' movies.
But Static Shock is like a recent character, wasn't even originally in the main DC universe, and I think now he's been sort of like retconned into the DC universe. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I think so. And
so, it was like originally Static Shock came up, I think it was like on a minor imprint that featured a lot of African-American characters. And then I guess at some point, like has happened with Shazam and other characters, he got absorbed into the DCU.
Right. So the Laugh Hindman hacker says he's a kid after all. He just tries to sound mature and intelligent and insightful. And I kind of understand what he's saying.
I hear you. Listen.
I know
the
what you're
Karate
thinking.
Kid thing, it's like he wasn't terrible, but look, it's just I'm just saying there's a lot of refuse in the air there. You know what I mean? It's just like it's hard to see through and be like, oh yeah, that's a good choice.
If this was 30 years ago, we would have no idea who he was as a person because there wouldn't be things like social media or outlets to promote that, and we'd be like, oh, he's a great choice for this.
Right.
But now that you do and you know people's personal lives, it does affect your opinion, and I respect that.
Same thing with Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like if I never knew.
That's how I feel about Russell Crowe.
And like how many more jerks could be out there, but you never know, and that's the point. Is like you never want to know sometimes. Sometimes you don't want to get to know your hero too well.
Just to make your skin crawl a little bit, Dat Detroit dude said Jaden Smith as Swamp Thing. How you feeling over there, Adam?
That's funny. That is actually funny. So yeah, Static Shock. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't care.
I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making it
care.
out to be.
Yeah.
I think fine.
I liked my original thing that he and his sister should be the Wonder Twins. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, but you were joking when you said that, I think.
But I think isn't Nick Mundy working on a Wonder Twins thing? He said he was working on some kind of digital Wonder Twins thing. That kid's on fire right now.
Yeah.
And he was married by The Rock, so I believe it.
I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah.
Interesting.
How do you like that? That guy that you guys were all hating on.
Not
guy,
all of you. Some of you loved him.
Many, yeah. But I think
Screen
he's funny.
junkies. Yeah.
Got married by The Rock. Like, that's reason enough to get married.
He smelled what The Rock was cooking.
Oh. Yes, absolutely. He did.
Yeah. Bringing us full circle.
Okay, what else would we got to talk about? Oh, yeah. The Supergirl pilot. Who saw Supergirl? Who watched that?
I'm so embarrassed to say I did.
How was your version? Was it HD? Like, I watched it on YouTube. It wasn't very clear.
I got to tell you, number one, I
didn't download it. I just watched it.
Yeah, I just watched it too, and it took me 2.5 hours to play the entire thing.
Oh,
it wouldn't
really?
download. I had to reload everything. I think that anything that I said previously about not knowing if Melissa was the right person to cast, I eat crow on. I thought she was really good. I think she was endearing, and I thought she was the best part of the pilot.
Cool.
Which I was excited about. I think that it looked way better than most people thought it was going to.
Yeah.
And it got me excited. I this is not me promoting watching it because I feel bad that it was leaked. I feel really bad for all parties that were involved, unless it was leaked on purpose, which some people are speculating. So I'm not promoting going to watch it, but if you
mean, a lot of them were taken down, but I mean, you guys sent me links that weren't, but I mean, a lot of them were, so.
Yeah. The best way to watch it, apparently the clearest way and whatnot, is the torrent version.
Right, sure.
Right, so.
That just feels extra dirty.
Yeah, download
For some reason, it's like, oh, it's on YouTube. But like to actually download it, it's like, now it's coming to me. The illegal, the contraband is going to be here soon.
I'm excited because I'm going to watch the show. And I thought that this was a nice little teaser.
Cool.
Some people had mixed feelings.
I was mixed. I'm a mixed feeling.
Yeah. Was it better than you thought it would be? Because I don't know how I feel like going into it, you thought it was going to be pretty.
I was actually kind of excited about it.
Okay.
I thought from a special effects look of Superman version, Supergirl, I thought that was good. I thought it looked good. I agree she was good. She was playing kind of like that more throwback, shucksy kind of like, almost reminded me of like the original Adventures of Superman TV show, which I freaking love. Like, you've never seen those classics with George Reeves, that start off black and white and then become color.
Right.
She reminded me of a Superman in that vein. I know a lot of people didn't like the Ally McBeal sort of factor of it all.
They didn't like her as the person who was cast, or they didn't like the character?
No, just I think the whole idea that like it was like Devil Wears Prada meets like Supergirl, that like they got this, I didn't think some people had a problem with that take on it. I'm a little worried that it's just going to be this like escapee from the Phantom Zone a week kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which just seemed like what they kind of set up.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And I still think it's weird that Superman is in it and he's referred to. And I still, going back to what I was saying before about how that really bodes strangely to me for crossovers with Arrow, I think it's still weird.
That's going to be the part that's very difficult about this show. I'm not going to be okay week in and week out hearing about a Superman that we never see. And then I also don't think I'm going to be okay seeing a Superman.
Right.
So,
and you're not going to. Like, they're not,
right.
At this point, I feel like they're investing so much in the on-screen Superman. I just don't see that happening.
Right. But for me, what's the most important thing about a show is to have talent on that show.
Yeah.
And that, I think, was there. So that's what's exciting to me. Storyline wise or whatever, we're just going to have to wait and see. This was a pilot with 1 episode. But if you don't have the talent, your show's going to suck.
Yeah.
And congrats to David Rappaport, casting director of Legends, Arrow, Flash, and
He
also
cast
Supergirl.
Yeah,
I think he did a really good job.
She's great. Look, it's a pilot. I mean, writing could get better. Everything could get better. I'm excited to see it and see what happens.
This is coming from Twitter at Heir to Christ says, maybe Supergirl's show is one of the multiverse that Flash show is doing, and that's how it ties in. Thoughts?
Well, in that case, I definitely can see Flash crossing over with just about anybody.
Yeah, that's
with that,
true.
so I buy that. But that's why I specifically said Arrow, because I don't know, unless it crosses over with a different Stephen Amell, a different Arrow, but then, like, you really think that's going to happen? Like, they're going to cast a different Arrow or have Steve Amell play a different Arrow in a multiverse? Like,
that would be so weird.
I don't know. It's going to get weird.
That would be really weird. I would not want to see that, honestly. I wouldn't. But I think that they have made statements at first, very clear statements, that there weren't going to be crossovers with Supergirl. And then that got a little looser, and they were like, well... maybe.
Here's what I'm going to tell you.
What are you going to tell
us?
us?
There have been no definitive statements. They're leaving it open. There is no official word or not. So anybody that thinks that they know for fact, I don't even know if Berlanti and crew know for fact.
Right.
And if they do, then they got to figure out a way to make it all jam together, which, it's comic books. That's what we love about them. You'll come up with some stuff. You'll make it work. If they want to cross them over, they'll make it work. There's also talk, we didn't do a piece about it, about Constantine possibly coming to the CW.
Yeah.
That's a rumor now. Save Constantine, hashtag Save Constantine. Not so much sci-fi talk, but CW.
I just feel like it's an ongoing joke at this point with Constantine, because every week we say something new about hashtag Save Constantine. So I don't know what to say. I'm done reporting on that until we have an answer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I don't know.
What do you guys think? Would Constantine fit in the CW, or then it would CW would become the DC network?
Yeah,
it's like
but it's
crazy at that point.
It's such a darker show that it's. I mean, Arrow's dark, but in kind of a different way.
It's sort of like Arrow, Constantine, Flash on the spectrum of light to dark.
Right.
Supergirl definitely more between Arrow and Flash.
It would fit more with Preacher on AMC.
Nothing's gonna fit with Preacher. Preacher's its own world.
Yeah.
Preacher's definitely its own world. Not in the actual DC universe, but man, that's going to be so good.
By the way, I know how much, I know this is crossing over to Marvel for a second, but I know how much you love Daredevil, and I just finished watching all 13 episodes.
What did you think?
Oh my God.
It's an amazing show.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Bar has been set.
It's been set real high. So, Preacher, bring it.
Has been set.
Bring it.
I think this is exactly the way I want to tell. I want to see a superhero comics on TV, 12, 13 episode seasons. Said it before. Cable or a cable like FX, AMC.
What did I just say? Joseph Hampton Jr. said Roxy just crushed my soul. What did I say?
Because you said you made love to a Marvel thing. He's a hardcore DC fan, and he doesn't want to hear you talking sexy talk about the competition.
I didn't say that was better than Flash. I just said it was really good.
It was really good.
I don't want to be a soul crusher.
Come on, listen. He's got to toughen up that soul.
Yeah.
He's got to toughen up that soul if that's going to crush his soul.
And by the way, when we were just talking about our TV time.
You're trying to get me to sing TV time.
TV time. Chime in when you want. TV time. Really good note. Really.
That's all I'll do.
Solid note. What I was going to say, though, is, again, this week, if you're not watching it, get on iZombie. It's freaking
really
awesome.
I haven't seen it.
It is so good. It's stupid good. And when we're talking about spectrum-wise, it's more towards the Flash spectrum.
Yeah.
But I love that show. I think it's killing it. So just as my little endorsement to that.
All right. Well, iZombie. So Roxy's she's all in on the CW.
Yeah.
You watch Vampire Diaries too? Supernatural?
I do. Vampire Diaries originals, all of them.
All of it?
All of them.
She's
and I was
a
a Gossip
CW
Girl,
girl.
90210. You know, big CW girl.
Yeah.
I'm a
but you're
big
not doing your
CW
after
girl.
show now, right? Flashes are on hiatus.
Yeah,
Are you
we're
on hiatus with
well,
that?
when they're on hiatus, I'm on hiatus. We are. Same thing with Arrow. Same thing with all of them.
Nice. All right. Well, any other questions? Anything else we want to do? It's a little bit of a shorter episode, but I think that's okay. It's late at night. What do we got?
I'm not cheating on DC. You guys are ridiculous.
Hey, look, I said it too. Daredevil's freaking incredible.
All right,
But I'll let you take the heat this week.
You guys, by the way, amazing job on Twitter this week with your questions. You asked us incredible questions. We're going to get to some of them right now.
Oh.
You did that by using the hashtag DC Movie News, which we really appreciate. You can find us everywhere. You can find us on Twitter at DC Movies SK. So reach out to us like that. This is a comment that I just wanted to express that came from our YouTube, though.
Okay.
It's not a question, it's just a comment, and it confused me a little bit, so I wanted to put it on air. This is from...
Oh, is this what you were trying to tell me before the show?
This is from Albert Rowell, says, I'd like to do my bench presses and my curls with Roxy as my lightweight pre-workout. She looks like she'd jiggle a lot. What? What does that mean?
And you felt that was the comment that you wanted to give airtime to.
I had to read it. Jiggle a lot. That's so interesting. Anyway, okay.
Do you have any idea the Pandora's box that you've just opened?
Okay, tell me. What did I just open? All right, moving on. Let's talk about some questions. All right, I just had to give a shout out to whoever wrote that because you really put some time and effort into that.
Listen,
Adam's face
guys,
is like, I'm going to stab her
she
after the
doesn't
show.
know what she's doing sometimes, okay? I don't want to see myriad comments
Like, my
about
arms
Roxy
are
jiggling and memes and all that stuff. Come on, spare her.
Where's the
She
jiggle?
doesn't know. She doesn't know.
She doesn't get it. She's confused. This is from @OneTrueFerrell says, would DC/WB not make sequels to the films that don't do too well, but set up the universe well? Hashtag DC Movie News.
I would think so, yeah. I mean, they're not going to make a sequel to a film just because they need to. Like, if you'll remember when Marvel was doing it, they started to realize what they had, but they pushed out that second Iron Man really quickly.
Yeah.
To the detriment of Favreau. They rushed it because they wanted to get it out. So if the films that do well, yeah, they're going to be pushed to the forefront. And yeah, I mean, setting up the universe, that's going to be the job of all the films probably to some extent. And the films that are more successful are obviously going to demand the fast tracking of the sequels.
I don't think that this has anything to do with DC. It just is a thing. If a film does well, it usually gets a sequel nowadays. That's just fact. Moving on to @TrevorMad says, with Affleck's double carrying a lot of the load in Suicide Squad, do you think we'll get more Batman appearances in DC movies?
Interesting question.
That's because our fans are the best.
That's a really interesting question. So what you're saying is like, all right, so maybe Affleck has a contract to appear in like 5 DC movies, but if DC wants to put the character of Batman and not use Affleck in that film, can they use Batman as much as they want?
And use the double. I mean...
But then you wouldn't have him talking.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Which would be weird.
So he's just going to come in, appear, say nothing, like kick somebody's butt and run away?
Yeah, I'm going to say no, probably not. You're not going to see, this particular scene we're seeing now is Batman on the roof of a car.
Right.
So clearly that's going to be a double. And if it is a flashback,
I don't know.
We know Affleck was on set a couple of weeks ago. He may have done a very small bit of dialogue, and that could have been for the same scene.
Right.
And then, we could have gotten just this double doing this action scene. So I don't think it means that they're going to put Batman in every film. Like, I would be surprised if he's showing up in Aquaman, in Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, he is their pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
That's true. He really is. This is coming from Tom Woodley Marshall @Bulletproof1797. Do you think the Justice League movie can be as successful as the Avengers films?
Yes, I do.
Not only do I think it can, I think it will.
Yeah. I mean, and
See,
honestly...
I'm not cheating on anybody.
I'm not cheating on anybody ever. You guys know I love Marvel. But after seeing the second Avengers film, I saw a chink in the armor of Marvel. In that, it made me want to see a Justice League movie more. And I can honestly say that was the first time I honestly felt that. I just feel like it was so light. Like, I felt like part of Avengers 2 was a step backwards in some ways. Like, I love the effects in like Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain America 2, and like I honestly felt like the CG was a step back. It was so cartoonish, and part of it, might have had to do with how bright it was and how they will only let the stakes get so dire. And I think that with CGI heavy films in general, it's better to be kind of darker.
Right.
Kind of hides the seams a little bit more.
I'm assuming this question, though, is speaking mostly monetarily.
Yeah, that goes to the point. It's like, if it's good, if you put Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and Green Lantern and Flash in a film, these characters are all much more iconic than any of Marvel's stable, with the exception of maybe Spider-Man. I mean, these characters, right? They all have Pez dispensers. So essentially, if it's good, internationally, I think Justice League is going to destroy.
But my point is, even if it's bad, so Avengers, the second Avengers, it wasn't bad, but people didn't like it as much. It made so much money.
Oh, it's still making a ton of money.
Sometimes it doesn't even matter if a film is good or bad. There's so much hype around this that I think it will do as well, no matter if it's good or bad.
My point is, if it's going to do better than Avengers, I don't think if a bad Justice League movie comes out, it will necessarily do better. I think it certainly has to do with how well the DC slate does leading up to that. So the question was, is it possible? I think it's very possible, and obviously, and I think it's likely. Yeah,
I agree with that. Okay, moving on. This is Danny B. Reviews says, who would you like to see as the baddies for Arrow Season 4 and Flash Season 2? So what I do want to see is more crossover, so I hope some of the baddies are the same, like we've seen in this past. I want to see more Grodd, obviously. I think that the way that they left him off, there's some unfinished business, and what that would look like if Arrow was interacting too with Grodd. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to see how Vandal Savage is done.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mirror Master we're seeing.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm very excited just to see what they do in general with Flash, with how much they play with this toy of multiverse and time travel and things like that. I'm very excited to see Arrow. You really got me, because I'm not super familiar with, Arrow's like hardcore stable, and I feel like this year he got a lot of Batman's main villain. Like,
right, that's
Ra's al
true.
Ghul is definitely more of a Batman villain.
But you're a huge Batman guy, so if they're going to continue on that path,
I hope they don't. I think that they've, like, the Arrow this season turned off a good amount of people, They kind of need to up the game in the next season to win back some of their lost support.
Right.
That's just a fact, I mean, Flash crushed it, and it got a lot of viewers, and like, Arrow leaning so heavily on like Batman stories, and just kind of being a little all over the place for me.
So in the chat, Kelly Dambrose made a good point. She said, we've got Damien Dark for Arrow, which we do see hinted at the end of this season that he will be.
Was that hinted out?
Yeah, because remember, he goes to, they go to kill him or whatever, and then it doesn't end up being him. It wasn't cast yet. Damien Dark, remember that scene?
I'm not following.
He goes there, and he hears something about Damien Dark, and he goes to, because that's Ra's al Ghul's big villain. He goes to take out Damien Dark, or to capture Damien Dark, and then he's like, he thinks he sees Damien Dark, and it's not actually him. Sorry for that spoiler, but I had to fill you in. So he will be a villain, definitely. And then sorry if I butcher this, Takeo Z says Killer Frost. So we know we've got Caitlin on Flash. Who knows if she will turn evil in some way, because she is Killer Frost. So that would be interesting. We got some things in the works.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I'll be interested to see how many episodes of Arrow go next season before
we see somebody?
Yeah, before we see somebody.
Okay.
I was going to say something. I don't know if I'm spoiling the end of the season.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying not to. Okay.
They left it in an interesting place. It'll be interesting to see where they go.
We'll move on. What do we have time for? One more question?
Sure.
Okay. This is from @wheels_5tud says, which movie besides BBS has the most pressure to make money?
the most pressure to make money.
Under pressure. Dun, 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 dun.
Pushing down on me, pressing down on you. No man asked for. There you want to. There you go. We got
But
a little.
you couldn't chime in on my TV time, but you can chime in on that. Whatever.
Yes.
I wasn't here for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Hi,
It's
Steven.
karaoke late night here on DC Movie News. The most pressure. I'm interested to hear what people have to say about this. I guess after BVS, I guess you have to go Justice League. As far as pressure, because of what I just said before, that it should do better than Avengers. With a deck that stacked, you could say, all right, Wonder Woman, all right, we're tossing it out there. Has there been a hugely successful female-led superhero movie yet? No. So is there a lot of pressure on it? Yes. But if it doesn't succeed, well, there hasn't really been one before it that succeeded. Suicide Squad, it's kind of out the box.
Right.
So maybe less pressure than that.
I agree.
After that, it's just, am I wrong? Right.
No.
After that, it's Justice League Part 1 is the next one.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
And also, if the first one doesn't do that well, they've already slated a second one. So it's like they got to knock it out of the park. I think there's a lot of pressure there. But if we're not talking money, I know this question asked money, but if it was just talking about which one has the most pressure to do well, I would say that it have to be Wonder Woman.
I would agree.
Because that movie, with the pushing for the female director and all of that.
It's got the least amount, I feel like, and tell me if you guys agree with me on this or not. Like, it's got the least amount of like, oh my God, I can't wait to see Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Like, downright fanboy, geekgasming over it.
Because-
People are jonesing for Squad and for BVS, which, fair enough, they're in production already, but people are already excited about seeing Aquaman or excited about Justice League. I'm not feeling that groundswell of real enthusiasm for Wonder Woman yet. What we just had with the director.
But it's our first live action Wonder Woman big screen. So, come on. You got to kick butt, period.
There is a lot of pressure on Wonder Woman when you think about it,
pressure.
because Wonder Woman is, opening the door for what superhero films are going to be led by women. We know that Marvel's working on a Captain Marvel. That's gonna happen too. But if Wonder Woman does really well, then there'll be more. There'll be more female driven superhero films, which will be good.
Absolutely. Okay, we have no more time for any questions.
Okay.
But there are more questions, which is awesome. You guys killed it this week. Thank
We'll
you.
still answer questions. We'll talk to you. I'm at Adam Gertler on Twitter and Instagram, and I will interact with you. You
a
can,
good man.
yes, watch me on FX Movie Download on FX. Eat sausages and burgers at Doghouse restaurants if you're in Southern California or Centennial, Colorado. And
I can say firsthand his sausages are... that was just like, I said...
Yeah.
He makes...
You know what
cooks
she said.
really good sausages.
And coming soon, you can watch my show, Man vs. Child, on FYI. Not sure when that's airing yet. I'll be gone for a couple weeks. I'll see you soon. Roxy!
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean it. You're killing it. You guys can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar. And make sure you listen to our show live and you are part of the chat because we love interacting with you guys everywhere at Popcorn Talk. And keep asking your questions to hashtag DC Movie News.
Later!
Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.